But if I had to pick just one thing that I value the most, honestly, it's who I've become in the process. I've just learned so much. I'm not even remotely that same young girl that started her own business 22 years ago. If you simply won't quit, ultimately, you'll succeed. I became a millionaire by the time I was 35. I mean, never dreamt that possible.
You know, my goals when I first started were pretty simple. Important to me, but really simple goals. I wanted to save my home, be able to make a mortgage payment, and more than anything, I wanted to be home with my children. I didn't have millions of dollars on my radar. Who would have dreamt at that point that I could have created that kind of wealth? I'm a school teacher. And when I think of how nervous I was to do presentations to 5 or 6 people, who would have guessed that just a handful of years later I would be delivering a presentation to 18,000 people in Japan? And when I'd go to those meetings and no one would show up, or a few people would come and no one would join me, who would guess that one day I would have a team of 250,000 people in 29 countries? I mean, it's just beyond my wildest dreams.
I'd made a decision. I was going to make this happen. I was going to do it. I was going to make it happen, whatever it took. Whatever it took. The personal growth that has occurred, the freedom. I mean, how can you put a price on being able to call your shots of your day, do what you want to do, when you want to do it? The money has been amazing. The relationships. I mean, how can you ever put a price on the precious people that become a part of your life and you all reach for something bigger? You can't put a price on that. I have to say that being able to get to a 5-figure income within my first year was amazing. My background as a school teacher, within a year in my new business venture, making more money in a single month than I could have made in a year teaching school, that was phenomenal. And about 10 years ago, I achieved a rank in the company that no one had ever achieved in the history of the company. And that was incredibly gratifying. I got a great team, so awesome. It feels so good. I'm just so grateful. The journey has been amazing. I just want to share it. Well, the challenges, particularly in those early days, I didn't have any previous experience. I had 3 little children and no capital. So those were some pretty significant challenges in the early days. There's that perpetual doubting of myself when you're faced with rejection and disappointment, and it just takes time for things to start moving in the beginning. And so, you know, you have the internal demons of your doubts and fears and so forth. And then I had some pretty imposing external circumstances with the 3 little kids and really no money. Well, my primary motivator when I began my business, my children. Hands down, I wanted to give them a better life. I knew that if I had to go back to teaching school and leave them at home, that I would miss precious years. I didn't want to miss those years, and I wanted to give them a better life. So they served as a deep and compelling why for me. I mean, I've heard people use that as an excuse. I can't start a new venture, I've got kids. Well, my children, they were my reason. They were my why. Yeah, there were plenty of challenges along the way. And a lot of times when I thought, oh, is it even worth it? Shall I just quit? But that why, that deep, compelling why, I mean, it just pulls you through. Well, I can think of one time when I was probably about as depleted as any time in those early days. And I just had put the kids to bed, left them with the babysitter, kissed them goodbye, and I was driving on my way to yet another meeting. And as I was pulling out of the garage and coming around the front of the house, Todd, who was probably 3 at the time, came running out in his soccer pajamas, bare feet, and he was just crying, "Mommy, don't go, don't go." I parked the car and went over and just gathered him up in my arms and silenced his tears and calmed him down. What he couldn't see is that I was crying too. I was so tired. And the last thing I wanted to do was trudge off to another meeting that evening. So I just held him really close and I said, "Todd, please, just be a big boy, go inside, support me, and honey, I promise you, someday I'll take you everywhere I go."
It was fun. We really just wanted her to be there. And we didn't have our dad, so I know that I speak for all 3 of us when I say that we were really just, sad every time she left and wondered why. It didn't make any sense. Why did she have to be gone?
You have no idea the joy that it was for me to be able to keep that promise to Todd, because when the money started coming, I was able to take these kids all over the world. We've traveled to some amazing places together, really places that I probably wouldn't have even been able to find on a map. And it's just a great gift to be able to follow through on that promise and to see the joy that we've had as we've traveled together and what these kids have been able to experience and learn about other cultures, other areas of the world. And in many of these areas, we've got relationships with people that are like family to us. So it's just been so rich, so rich.
A million times over, yes. I think I've had many experiences in my life that I almost feel bad saying to people because it pales in comparison to the things that, my friends have done. I don't even bring up half the things that I've had, the luxury of experiencing because of the hard work she put in. So yeah, I'm very grateful.
Being able to save a lot of money, and that tenacity has brought me monetary success as well. And I think all of us as her children have the creative mindset where we're always thinking of how we can create something, if it's like a business opportunity or what have you. But that's something that I've discussed with him and my sister at length, and it's her example that's led us to that kind of mindset where it's just entrepreneurial. How can we find a niche and meet it and just succeed.
I think that she's fostered a fantastic relationship with every single kid. The fact that we get to travel with her, like solo, it's just her and the kid. And I don't think any other kind of career could ever offer that. And she's just so good at making sure every kid has a special relationship with her.
Beautiful. Well, for me, it's definitely instilled a work ethic that a lot of people, that I work with don't have. For instance, like I go in, work 2 hours early every day, and just start before. And when I'm there, it's just laser focus, and it's kind of reminiscent of the way my mom approaches things. She just has laser focus and tenacity and charisma. And I've been in sales jobs ever since I was. I started my first job and it was Subway, and then after that it was all just sales jobs after that, because she's taught us the ability to connect with people and really see beyond what is their superficial needs to what really makes them tick. So.
Oh my gosh, well, I would say that the coolest thing is definitely the travel. I mean, she's enabled us to go all over the world. We've been to Egypt, we've been to Thailand, we've been to Singapore, we've just taken world round trips and been able to fly first class and have insane, gigantic areas that are all our own on a plane for 14 hours. And I mean, all of that is enabled all of her work has enabled our travel, which is really cool. And because she's got her own business, she's self-employed, she's been able to spend more time with her family than most people who are employed get to spend. So, I mean, it's just great. She's always fostered the importance of family, and it's awesome. And that's why we're all so close, and that's why, we all love each other so much. Well, and then we have an Australia, Fiji, New Zealand trip coming up at the end of the year, and this time our significant others get to come with us, and we're excited. It's always been a dream of mine to go to Australia, and we're going to go there and we're going to scuba dive. We're staying in this awesome place in Fiji. We're all staying in this house like right on the beach, so I'm excited. And if it weren't for her job, then we wouldn't have these opportunities.
All of the physical things, the house, the cars, the money, could go away. But with this knowing that I have that I did it, I know I can draw on that anytime. That what I've learned about myself, the personal development, that's gonna last. Who I become and who I help other people become, that's the stuff that matters. Well, I would say, don't sell out on yourself. Realize that you were born for greatness, and realize that it's a journey. You don't have to be great at your first try. And in fact, you have to be willing to mess up in the beginning. I have a statement that one of my German team members shared with me that I love. And the statement simply is, it's better to begin with fault than to hesitate perfectly. And I believe it. I mean, I think back to those initial meetings and my first presentations. I mean, they sucked, really. I mean, I wasn't good. And so I think you got to be willing to take that learning curve. I would just encourage people to dream big, to think as big and expansively as you possibly can. Get that on the radar, and then don't sell out. Recognize it's a process, it's a journey, and be willing to take that learning curve. And then I want to offer all the love and support and mentoring that I can to help people that really desire big things to create them. Yeah, I think we've covered a lot. I guess I would just say how profound gratitude is, because when many people begin a new venture, a business, they're doing it because there's some level of dissatisfaction, like they want more, they are fed up with their current situation. But what I've learned is the best place to create from is from a place of absolute gratitude for what you have here, for what you have now. And from that you put yourself in a position to attract more.